Streaming company is very interesting. Another interesting thing that I got to experience at NHRA, and really it made me reevaluate dirt track racing overall. I was sitting in a traffic jam for about 3 hours. And while I'm sitting in this traffic jam, 6 miles, bumper to bumper, I'm like, it's over. This whole thought that dirt track racing needs to go to this mainstream level, and it needs to get this recognition, and everybody needs to tune in, and this dirt world would be so much better off financially, the sponsors, the front gate, the front gate mainly, for weekly racing more so than national. Just the attention, the recognition of the sport going up would get a lot of people to come to the tracks. This NHRA thing had about 30,000 people at it. And I'm sitting there thinking of all these World of Outlaw events where there's 10,000 people or 5,000 people, which is the majority of an outlaw event. And most of the tracks don't have parking space. And what I'm saying is that dirt track racing doesn't have the infrastructure for mainstream attention. Let's just say Jonathan Davenport goes out in this NASCAR race and wins it. And now dirt track racing, not only on a national level, but a weekly, just the sport is so in the dark. Y'all don't understand how in the dark this sport is. And let's say Jonathan Davenport gives it that respectable light. And now 50,000 people want to come to your racing event. What track right now in America, dirt racing facility, can hold 50,000 people? I think Eldora is registered as like 22,000 it can hold. I think Knoxville's registered at like 26 or 7. Port Royal, maybe, could hold 20-ish. But what facility? Let's just say, how many facilities can hold 20,000? How many facilities have the parking, the restrooms, the concessions? Dirt track racing doesn't have the infrastructure to hold mainstream attention right now. And this is tying into the streaming, because I say, if that national recognition does happen, and say that people want to start coming to dirt racing events because they finally heard about them, and respect the drivers, because this comes down to respect. There's no one that can hold mainstream respect right now or attention outside of maybe Eldora, maybe Knoxville, maybe Port Royal. And the reason I say this is a streaming situation is because if that mainstream attention does hit, all these dirt tracks out here complaining and whining about streaming, thinking about fans, all of a sudden you're going to have streaming. Your track is going to have streaming to even be able to get new people to even be allowed to watch it, because there's going to be nowhere to even park. Most of the racetracks would have to reject people because they don't have the infrastructure. Now, one of the main lines that I've always said is, and when I got into this on this whole mission that I've been on for 5 years, is that I remember, I worked at the Devil's Bowl Speedway, and the promoter at that time, legendary track owner and promoter, co-promoter of the Chili Bowl, a man named Lanny Edwards. We were talking about fans and marketing, and he gets pretty saucy when he gets to talking, and he's like, "Turn around, Chaz. Look at these stands right here," and there's a big section in turn 3 and 4 that extend, and it extends pretty high, and Devil's Bowl's probably the outside of Texas Motor Speedway. Maybe these NASCAR tracks, sorry, I forgot about maybe Texas Motor Speedway and Charlotte and Las Vegas could maybe hold 20,000, or these, little satellite dirt tracks at NASCAR facilities. Maybe those could hold big crowds, but in parking. He said, "I didn't build those additional stands right there because I wanted them. I built them because I needed them. Because at one point in time, dirt track racing used to be popular and respected and was labeled weekly as professional auto racing. So in the perfect scenario, you would have to build stands, but you'd have to be getting in revenue to build those stands. Now, of course, those stands that I was just referencing with Lanny Edwards, those are empty on a weekly basis, barely fill them. World of Outlaws come there, gets close to filling them. But so you're going to have to depend if this dirt thing gets the mainstream attention that I think everybody kind of wants, including myself. I just had this realization of the infrastructure of the sport. You're going to have to depend on streaming for people to even watch it. Or you could raise your ticket prices, which you haven't had to do for a long time. And everybody can, oh my God, tickets are already so expensive. It's $75 to park at some football games. $75. And then you may outprice the little guy, the regular guy who wants to bring his family. You may outprice him. It becomes too mainstream. And now he has to go and watch it on the stream. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to streaming and these tracks bitching about streaming, and I'm losing a fan here, a fan there, that fan, track promoter, that you're losing because streaming is there, is a fan you don't even need at the racetrack. This is the fan that is down the street or within 20 to 30 minutes driving, or even 45 minutes driving distance from your race facility, that is choosing to watch it on streaming versus coming to your track, is a fan you don't need at your facility. You don't need that guy. That guy is going to buy, I would say a salad, but we don't have great food at racing facilities. He's not going to buy your crappy ass hot dogs. He's not going to, the most healthiest thing on the menu. He's not going to buy popcorn. He ain't going to buy the Diet Coke. He ain't going to buy your T-shirts that you're selling. He ain't going to buy the driver's T-shirts. This is a cheap-ass cheapskate that you don't even... And actually, streaming is helping you keep those people out of your facility. Because you don't need those people. And I think we're in a very interesting scenario right now where there's this streaming, all competition and blah, 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 blah. Telling you right now, the things that Davenport's doing in the dirt late models, the people on this national scene, what they're doing in prepping, is going to be very important. Very important. And it's going to increase the awareness of the sport. And when it goes up, you're going to need streaming really, really bad. And hopefully when we get to that point, even weekly racing and stuff, getting all this influx in money, then we can raise our weekly purses, and our national purses aren't just, $100,000 to win because we're trying to get a driver. They're $100,000 to win because we have the front gate that can pay for that purse. That's one of the reasons everybody complains that the payouts haven't rose since the 90s on a weekly or national basis, even sometimes, especially on the sprint car side. But that's because we lost the fans. The front gate fell away. Weekly, the front gate went down. Therefore, the promoters started pulling it from the back gate and started up in pit pass money. And that's how they were supplementing the purse to where it turned a professional sport and weekly racing action into a hobby, because the payments on the entry and the back gate is what was even paying the purses to begin with. So losing that respect and recognition in the 90s and this sport slowly declining from the societal awareness is what got it to where we were 5 or 6 years ago. It's on the rise now. But this is scenarios where, you get these people back at your racetracks weekly, then you can start paying bigger money. And then maybe it's a profitable thing and we can have car owners again. And it can all work out used to.
This is how we ride. This is how we do.